Good morning and welcome to another episode of Coffee and Tea with AARP, a biweekly conversation in which AARP Connecticut speaks with experts and decision makers about topics that are relevant to older adults. My name is Anna Doroghazi and I'm one of the policy directors at AARP Connecticut. I'm very pleased to introduce today's guest, Elena Hurlburt from the New England Assistive Technology Center, which is also known as NEAT. Elena, welcome.
Thank you, Anna. It's so great to be here today.
Elena is the Director of Assistive Technology Services at NEAT and Oak Hill Center. She leads a team of professionals, each with unique areas of expertise in providing services and educating about the ways that assistive technology can empower and create opportunities for those with different abilities across the lifespan. With a background in speech-language pathology, Elena strives to keep awareness and advocacy at the heart of NEAT's programs and services. So I guess with that introduction, Elena, can you tell us a little bit about Oak Hill and the NEAT Center?
Absolutely, yeah. So Oak Hill is our larger agency, and the NEAT is a smaller entity of that. Oak Hill is the largest service provider for people with disabilities in the state of Connecticut. So Oak Hill has several different programs, such as group homes and day programs throughout the state, also special education classrooms throughout the state as well. But then we also have these smaller specialized centers that focus on unique areas of specialty in hopes of helping people, again, across the lifespan, overcome different challenges and really lead fulfilling lives. So one of those centers is NEAT, New England Assistive Technology, and that is where we provide AT, assistive technology, evaluations and consultations, trainings, really any level of support to individuals who might need to, again, overcome barriers, do things more independently, and figure out ways that technology can really help them to do that. We're big on the implementation aspect as well. You know, you can't just get a piece of technology and say, hey, here you go, good luck, right? There's a lot of learning that's involved for the individual as well as the individual's team. So that's really what we focus on, kind of the start to finish of introducing technology into somebody's life. We also have our durable medical equipment side of NEAT, and that is where we receive donations from people all over of used durable medical equipment. So, you know, wheelchairs and walkers, standers, all types of equipment that people can benefit from using. And once we receive the donations, we sanitize them, clean them, refurbish them, and then resell them for a fraction of the cost in hopes of making it more affordable to people. So really those are the two entities of NEAT.
That's great. And how do you see, in the work that you do day to day, how do you see technology assisting older adults and people with disabilities? Like, what are some of the common challenges that people use assistive technology to address?
Yeah, sure. So, overall, technology can really be sometimes a game changer, a life-changing piece of equipment that somebody obtains to really help them do something that they otherwise would not be able to do at all. Technology can also help people do things in a way that's a little bit easier. So maybe they can do it on their own, but it's very challenging. So the technology can be introduced to make it a little bit easier for them. Different areas that assistive technology can help in are things like learning. So in kind of like the education realm, learning all about academics and learning about the world. Also supporting employment and in the workplace. How do you complete a job task? How do you engage with your coworkers? How do you, do those day-to-day employment-based tasks? AT can also be incredibly helpful for independence in the home. So living more independently, completing, your daily routines, activities of daily living, things that we all do on a day-to-day basis that, again, might not be possible for somebody altogether, or, might make it a little bit easier for them.
Great. Do you have any favorite devices? Do you, in your day-to-day life, have any assistive technology that you really enjoy using?
Well, that is a tough question, Anna. As the director of AT services here, it's kind of hard to pick just one. But, if I'm thinking kind of more smart technology, smart home tools, one thing that I really like to share with people that's growing in popularity is smart plugs. So being able to take a regular appliance, a lamp, a coffee maker, whatever it may be, plugging it into this smart plug, into the outlet, connecting it to Wi-Fi, and then being able to control it from your smartphone, from your tablet, using a digital assistant like Amazon Alexa. So being able to control those things is really, really helpful for a lot of people. I'd say it's maybe one of my favorites, just because of the simplicity of it, right? I think oftentimes people are very intimidated by technology. It's high tech, it's expensive. I have to do all these things to my home to make it work. Whereas a plug is, for the most part, plug and play, getting it connected, and then you're up and running. So that's one thing. I do have a few of those in my own home. I also love, again, Amazon Alexa, being able to control things, set reminders through my voice by using my voice. My grocery list through Amazon Alexa, right? I just say out loud to her things that I need, and then they automatically get populated onto a list for me. So for me, it's a lot of convenience-based reasons that I use technology. But I think it's really important to think about the ways that the same pieces of technology, these same tools, are not only convenient for people who are aging or have disabilities, it's the convenience plus the access, right? They're able to do things that they otherwise couldn't do. You know, somebody with a physical disability might not be able to stand up and go turn on the lights, right? Something that, again, we might all take for granted. That person can now control it from their phone. They can use Amazon Alexa to say, hey, Alexa, turn on my lights. They can now do that task. So it's the convenience plus the access.
That's great. And something that you just mentioned in that response was this idea that some people feel very intimidated by technology. And I think, that's absolutely true, but I think there's also a bit of a misconception that older adults don't understand technology or none of them want to use it, they just can't learn it. Is this something that you've come across in your work? And what do you say when people might express some discomfort with the idea of using a technology?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of twofold. I think a big part of it is a misconception that, aging older adults can access technology. They want to. They do have really great skills in doing it. So I don't think we can make a blanket statement that it's always a challenge for that population. I think it really comes down to the way that we implement that technology. So as I said in the beginning, like how you provide that training, it just really needs to be tailored and customized to meet that person's needs. Which is really what we do across the lifespan too, right? No matter who we're working with, we want to ensure that that support is customized and individualized for what they need. Thinking about their learning style. Do they benefit from watching videos? How do I do that again with this app? Oh, this video will show me step by step what to do. So really customizing it, I think, makes it less intimidating. And I think the other part of this too is that we as providers and as a community, we need to recognize that there's a continuum of technology, right? So as I said, the smart plugs, those are a little bit more simpler to use, but then there's also very complex high-tech pieces of technology, with tablets and computers and software and all these things that you need to do to get set up. That can be intimidating. That can be intimidating for anyone. So we need to just really be mindful of there's different types of tools that some are simpler, some are more complex, and we just have to match the type of technology to that person's needs, what their comfort level is. Because if they're not comfortable with it, they're not confident in using it, they're not going to be successful with it, right? And that's our goal. And you can't force it. We come across all the time. You can't force technology on somebody. If they're not motivated to use it, so be it, right? It's just something that we have to accept. But as long as we've tried all the avenues to help them to be comfortable with it, right? Teaching them in the right way, giving them access to technology that might not be as intimidating.
Great. So you touched on this a little bit in your response. Some people just aren't interested in technology and don't want to adapt it. But are there other barriers that you've encountered to getting more people to be interested in and to use assistive technology?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I think cost is often a barrier. A lot of these pieces of technology, especially those on the higher tech end, they're expensive. They're not cheap items that are affordable to everybody. So unfortunately, I think cost is an issue. But that being said, there's options. There's ways that we can still get this technology in the hands of people who need it. Here at NEAT, we have a lending library. So people who are members of NEAT for, a small annual fee, they can access our lending library, which includes all types of assistive technology tools, including smart home technology tools, where they can borrow it, try it out for 30 days, try it before you buy kind of concept. Does this work? Is this something that's going to meet the need in the way that I anticipated, or is it not appropriate at all? And I'm so glad I didn't spend that money, right? So that's always an option. There are a lot of grants out there too that we can often help to support and facilitate in order to obtain the technology. There's loan programs out there. The Connecticut Tech Act project is a phenomenal resource to helping to get technology in the hands of people who need it through loans and such. So while cost is a barrier, we never want that to become a true barrier for getting the technology to people who need it. I think also the training, which I mentioned before, I think I'm trying to make myself clear on how important that training is, but I think oftentimes it's just dropped off, right? It doesn't happen. People buy the technology, they think it's going to work in one way, but they don't receive the proper support to really learn how to use it meaningfully for them, right? For their specific needs. So overcoming those barriers, you can always reach out to the vendor, the company that you purchase the tool from. Obviously, it depends on the company and the level of customer support they can give. But typically in the AT world, they're very supportive. They're wanting to help people maximize the use of that technology. So that's a good avenue to go down. Online, of course, YouTube, checking out videos on how to use a certain tool. Those are always great tools as well. And then, not to be putting a plug for NEAT, but that's what we do all the time. We love supporting people. We can always be hired to, do a little bit of training, just an hour, all the way up to ongoing regular support to get somebody up and running.
Great. And that's one of the things that I really love that NEAT offers is that lending library. It's just such a neat, I guess.
Neat,
idea.
I see what you did there.
Because for that level of investment, you really do want to know, like, does this meet my need? Is it going to work? Am I comfortable with it? And then the support and training that you all offer is really spectacular. So thank you for,
Got it.
for
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for recognizing the value of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Connecticut, like the rest of the country, has a rapidly aging population. How do you think this is going to impact how we as a society use assistive technology in the coming years? Do you think we're going to see new and different forms of technology that are going to help us change how we live as we age?
Yeah, I mean, technology is always changing. It's a good thing and a bad thing, right? It's always improving, but that means we just have to stay up to date with it constantly. But I do see the trend of using assistive technology for this population continuing to grow. We've seen an increase in recent years. I just see that continuing on and on. Again, just to really support that independence, reduce the need for caregiver support, particularly in areas like safety and security and health, right? So there's technology tools that can help with, smart locks and some, security cameras, of course, have gotten more popular. So really allowing caregivers to provide that safety for the individuals, but then also that peace of mind for the caregiver too, right? They have that sense of security that their individuals are secure, right? So I definitely see those things continuing. I think there's a lot more to be done with robots and digital assistants, right? So having those essentially personal assistants to help people complete day-to-day tasks. Again, it's improved so much in recent years that I can't even imagine where it's going to go. Just really being able to help people do things without the need for, round-the-clock care, nurses, caregivers all the time, telehealth, telemedicine, all the things that we've been seeing. I just see it continuing. I do think we need to be very careful and very aware that it's not replacing the in-person support too, right? Especially as we've all seen throughout the pandemic, that social connection, we need to maintain that. If you just go in and replace all the caregiver support with the robots and the digital assistants, that's when people feel socially isolated, they get lonely, and we could go on and on about the impacts of that. So I think it's important that AT continues, but we just have to be careful in the ways that it's used and the extent.
Speaking of education, AARP and Oak Hill recently kicked off a 6-part series of in-person events that are focused on helping folks learn a little more about assistive technology. Could you tell us just a little more about these events and what people will learn if they attend?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you so much to AARP for sponsoring these events. We're grateful for the continued partnership and just the opportunity to let our community know what assistive technology and specifically smart home technology can do for them. whether it's for them personally, for a caregiver, or for someone that they care for. I think it can be really helpful for a variety of people. But essentially what these events are open house tours of our Smart Home on Wheels. And our Smart Home on Wheels is a tiny home. You've seen the show Tiny Home. Tiny home outfitted with all types of smart home technology. Several of the things that I've spoken about today, the smart plugs, Amazon Alexa, the security cameras. And it's a model home that shows all the ways that smart home technology can be helpful for somebody. And I think what's really cool about it is you walk in and it just looks like a typical home, right? Because a lot of this technology, as we've kind of alluded to, are things that we all can use. So it's not like it makes, people stand out or, have this big stigma that they use all this technology. It's just a natural part of our environment. So that's what we really like to show. Another pun there, show in our show. Our Smart Home on Wheels is what we call the show. So, we're really looking forward to showing the community all these types of technology with these tours. So we just finished one last week, our first one, our kickoff, which is a big success in having people come and see all these pieces of technology. We're really looking forward to the next one coming up on August 22nd from noon to 2. And that one will be really showcasing the ways that routines in Amazon Alexa, Google Home, all types of digital assistants, how you can set up routines to say one command and then your lights will turn on, your fan will turn on, your coffee maker might start, like all these things that are happening automatically. And then from then on, September through December, we're going to continue these once a month tours. Different topics will be highlighted each month, but we're really just looking forward to connecting with the community, having these in-person connections with people. So we hope that people will join us.
Great. And AARP Connecticut's really pleased with this sponsorship and, excited to carry on with the rest of the series. It was a lot of fun the first time, and we're looking forward to the rest of them. So with that, Elena, thank you so much for being our guest today. Elena is the Director of Assistive Technology Services at New England Assistive Technology Center, an Oak Hill Center. And we're really thankful that you took some time to join us today.
Of course. Thank you so much, Anna. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Great. And thanks to everybody who tuned in to watch us this morning. We hope you will be back in 2 weeks for our next episode of Coffee and Tea with AARP. If you're interested in the events that Elena mentioned regarding assistive technology, you can find out about those and more at aarp.org/CT events. Thank you so much, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks.